Dear traveller and welcome. Come close, drop a knee, and let me tell you a story. We're going to travel through many worlds and discover new horizons. We will also say goodbye to old friends. With not a minute to lose, let's get into it. Wesley Wales Anderson, born May 1st, 1969, is an American filmmaker. His films are known for their eccentricity and distinctive visual and narrative styles. In 2014, he released one of his iconic movies, The Grand Budapest Hotel, which was another cult classic movie containing carefully crafted characters cloaked in contrasting colours. Also released in 2014 was the Sigma DP3 Quattro. What does the Sigma DP3 Quattro have in common with Wes Anderson movies? Those vivid colours. The DP Quattro has been designed as a large sensor compact camera, fitted with a 75mm equivalent lens, ISO from 100 to 6400, a fixed 3-inch rear LCD display with 920k screen dots, maximum shutter of 0.002 of a second, shoots RAW and JPEGs, 20 megapixels APS-C CMOS sensor. Oh, and did I mention it's got a Fovean sensor?
Paying attention to my Sigma reviews, the short story is that these have a special kind of 3-layered sensor called Fovean.
フォビオン X3 センサークワトロって書いてますね。
A guy named Dick Merrill thought that why should we fake colors of the Bay Matrix? He said, let's measure.
Fovean sensors. So what's the big hoo-ha about this sensor? Put simply, it's a triple-layer design sensor, and as we see from the diagram, light is able to pass through the top two layers, so each layer is able to record information. This means that each pixel is able to capture more colour, whereas the Bricey Bayer sensor has set pixels that record set colours. What I didn't realise is that the Fovean sensor is closely designed after colour film in the way that it records colour. No, I'm not saying it's as good as film, but the proof's in the pudding. This thing can smash out colours. But hey, you're no beginner. You know that good colours have to start with good lenses. This bad boy has it in spades. It's a 50mm f2.8 to f16. This lens has been noted by most Sigma aficionados as being the standout lens of the DP line, and that's not to say that the DP0, the 1 and the 2 is a slouch. They all are amazing lenses, but the 75mm equivalent f2.8 has that extra chef kiss like new one lady owner always runs on BP Ultimate plus. But I digest. The elephant in the room is that you're stuck with a 75mm equivalent lens. Okay, I must admit, 75mm isn't my daily focal length. It's more of a special occasions shooter. If I was doing any kind of serious production photography or landscape, I'm reaching for my Sigma. If I'm looking to do some portrait work or instant film conversions, I'm reaching for my Sigma. If I'm wanting to print a poster-sized image, I'd try to use the Sigma if it suits. But street photography or family snaps, no deal. Not that it's impossible, but it's just not easy to do with a 75mm equivalent in my opinion. Design. We can't talk about the Sigma DP3 Quattro without mentioning the design. I personally love the design of this camera. It's not meant to be a pocketable design or a DSLR design. It's its own thing. The techs at Sigma HQ have designed it to be held with both hands, and it's more comfortable than it looks. For me, it's like the camera is telling the user that it's a serious camera, for taking serious photos. It's not the type of camera you're going to take photos of random plastic lawn chairs or your half-cut friends at the club. It's refined, it's a piece of art. To me, it reminds me of some kind of alien tech that you would see on the Flight of the Navigator. Not to be confused with the Invaders from Mars, released the same year. And just like the Flight of the Navigator, if you're shooting Sigma cameras, chances are you've probably got weird friends too. My opinions. I must say, one of the best things I like about this camera is how old tech it feels. It honestly reminds me of using my Ricoh GRD1, and for me, that's a huge bonus. I don't want endless menus with every conceivable option and adjustments. I just want 6 strings and the truth. Give me a 100-watt Marshall head, run that bad boy at 50 watts, and turn all the knobs to 10, except the bass. That's all I need. A simple camera that just does what you asked it to, and the Sigma has that quality about it. But this camera isn't for everyone. Well, honestly, it's aimed at a very small market. And that's people who want insane amounts of colour and information and aren't afraid to work for it. What do I mean? Well, if you're shooting with a modern Fuji, Sony, Canon, etc., you can capture an image in very poor lighting with bad composition and boring colours, then apply the in-camera simulations, run it through post to polish that file up, drop the HELL out of it, and post it on Insta to get your likes and fire emojis. With a 100 ISO camera, you need to understand light and think about your shot before you take it. Kinda like film, I guess. It's a slower paced style of shooting. Oh, and something else that people lose their mind over is that it can take around 100 shots before the battery dies. Apparently that's a problem. The idea of taking more than 100 shots in one day gives me anxiety. You must have a ridiculous workflow, or you're just taking 28 shots of the same composition, if 100 shots isn't enough. So to summarise, the Sigma DP3 Quattro is like a 2003 Digicam with an insane sensor, and that's all I could ever ask for. So why did I buy the Sigma DP3Q? Well, if you've been following me for a while, you may know that I have a Fujica GW690, and that thing is amazing. It's by far the best camera I've ever owned. But how come some of the best cameras we own sit on the shelf collecting dust? Comment down below if you have a camera that's amazing but spends most of its life on a shelf, and let us know what that camera is. So I just couldn't let that Fujica sit on the shelf no more. So I decided to replace it with something that could also make super high resolution images. A digital medium format, if you will. No, don't get me wrong, I love both of these cameras, and I'm not saying that the Sigma is a step up or step down from the Fujica, but it's definitely getting more use than the Fujica. So this is farewell to the Fujica GW690. I was very sad to see it go. I have amazing memories using that camera. It toured all over southwest Victoria along the Great Ocean Road and met a lot of people. One such person was a swagman that I met. What a guy. So the story goes, he lost his entire family one day, and ever since then, he's been a swagman, travelling from place to place. Besides him was his trusty service dog, and after a few minutes of meeting him, a taxi pulls up and a friend of his jumps out. His friend was from France and spent his childhood in a rural West Australian boarding school. There he grew up around local Indigenous Australians, but now the two of them tour around the west coast of Australia. So it's with a heavy heart that I moved the GW690 on, but there's no point having a camera collecting dust. Well, that's about it for this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I will catch you on the next one.
Maybe I see the way